Hey, what's up? It's your old pal, Mr. Cook, and we're going to work on the quiz review 7.1 to 7.3. So this whole chapter is not that bad. It's mostly just plugging stuff in and looking at graphs. There's a couple things that you need to solve, like a few step-by-step things, mostly the inverse functions. But, you know, it's the same algorithm, the same pattern. So we'll go through that, and you'll see it's not that bad. First, let's get used to some notation. Whenever it says, like this thing where it says p and then parentheses, -1, when it has the little parentheses there, this doesn't mean p times this. What this means is plug in -2 to the equation. Wherever you see your input values, you know, like your variables, you plug in that number, -2. So that's going to be the same for the first 4 problems. You just plug in -2 for the, the variables here. So you get -2 squared minus 4 times -2. And then we just, want you to find the answer for that. So if you just plug it in your calculator, make sure to put parentheses whenever you are inputting a value in. So -2 to the second power minus 4 times -2. And you get your answer, 12. Same thing with this one. The only thing that's a little weird are these little absolute value symbols here. So what these mean is like, you do this part first, the inside part, and whatever happens, like whatever number that you get, you just turn it positive no matter what. So if it's already positive, it stays positive, but if it's negative, then you turn it positive. But, other than that, it's the same stuff. So absolute value, -3 times 8 minus 3. So -3 times 8 is -24. And -24 minus 3 is -27. So now, once we've calculated what's going on in the absolute value, we apply the absolute value. So the absolute value just makes whatever's inside positive. So if it's -27, it becomes positive. So positive 27 would be your answer there. For number 3, this just says plug in -3x for your variable. Okay, so it's just 4 times parentheses, -3x minus 1. And then, just evaluate it. Multiply the 4 in there. 4 times -3 is -12. And since you can't combine like terms, you can't combine any more terms, that's just your answer, -12x minus 1. Let me put boxes around my answers just so they're really apparent. All right, next we got to plug in a minus 4 in for the variable. So that becomes parentheses a minus 4 squared plus 3. A minus 4 squared is the same as saying a minus 4 times a minus 4. And then I FOIL all this stuff in, or distribute, whatever your teacher in algebra told you to do, or even your algebra 2 teacher. A times a is a squared. A times -4 is -4a. -4 times a is -4a. -4 times -4 is 16. And then when I combine like terms, I get a squared. And then -4a and -4a is a -8a. And then 16 plus 3 is 19, so plus 19. And we're all done with that one. So that's the first 4 problems. If you need a little bit more help with that, that's in 7.1. Okay, and then let's just finish off this page, and that'll be the first video. Because I think, or at least we should be able to get through number 5. Let's see how long the video is at that point. But anyways. So the notation here says, don't get confused with these little parentheses x's at the end of each of these, all right? That just means that you're using the functions, so these equations right here for everything. It doesn't mean times x at the very end, so do not think that, all right? If it helps you, just like, forget about the x's for a little while, okay? Imagine that they don't exist, because all this is saying is just they want you to take the f function, so this thing, 3x plus 2, that's this, plus the g function. So they want you to add on the g function, x minus 5. And then just combine like terms. 3x plus x is 4x. 2 plus -5, so 2 minus 5 is going to be a -3. And that's it. That's all that you need to do. Don't multiply by this x. Do not do it, okay? This is not multiplication right here. This one says, again, this is not multiplication. This just says take the f function, so that's going to be the 3x plus 2, and subtract away the entire function of x minus 5. A lot of you guys are going to forget to put the parentheses around here, and that's actually going to be really important to get the right answer. So make sure to put parentheses around that second one, the g function here. So if I distribute the negative in here, it becomes 3x plus 2 minus x, and then a negative times a negative is a positive, so that turns to plus 5. Now just combine like terms. 3x minus x is going to be 2x. 2 plus 5 is 7, so plus 7. And that'd be your answer, 2x plus 7. The next one, when the f and the g are right next to each other, that means that they're multiplying together. So I'm just going to multiply the f function, so 3x plus 2, times the g function, which is x minus 5. So what I'm going to do for this is just FOIL, just like what I did in number 4 there. You know, FOIL or distribute, whatever you were told that it's called. So 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. 2 times x is 2x. And then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Now just combine like terms. So there's no more squares, so 3x squared. And then negative 15x plus 2x. So in other words, 2x's minus 15 of them gives you negative 13x's, and then minus 10. And that is your finished answer for number 5C. Now for 5D, what this says is to put the f function on top of the g function in a fraction. So f divided by g. So the f function goes on top, 3x plus 2, over, and then the g function, which is x minus 5. Okay, now usually what you would want to do is try to factor this as much as possible, but this is, you know, these are both prime expressions, so you can just leave it as is. That's the answer. Now for the domain is actually really easy too, because we just can't allow that denominator to be equal to 0, so we just say that x minus 5 cannot be 0, and then just solve for x. So if I add 5 to both sides, I get x cannot be equal to 5. And that'd be your domain, x cannot be equal to 5. The reason that's the case is if I did plug in 5, I'd get 0, and if 0's in the denominator, like that breaks math rules, so you just got to remember that you can't divide by 0 at the end there. Okay, now these ones get a little bit more elaborate, but they're still pretty easy, just plugging in and combining like terms. This one says that you're taking the f function, which is 3x plus 2, and you're going to multiply it by 3, and then you're going to subtract away 2 times the g function, which is x minus 5. Then just distribute in, so 3 times 3 is 9, 9x. 3 times 2 is 6, so plus 6. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10. And then just combine like terms. 9x minus 2x is 7x. 6 plus 10 gives you 16. So 7x plus 16 is your answer for this one. F. So what this says is that we're going to plug in x minus 2 for our x value over there. So it becomes 3 times x minus 2 plus 2. So we're just plugging in this for our input, minus the g function with x plus 1 plugged in. So the g function is x minus 5, so that's going to be that x plus 1 there. That's the input, and then minus 5. And I'm putting the parentheses around all of that because I'm subtracting, just like what I did in this problem, the one right over here. See how I subtracted away that stuff? I'm doing the same thing here, minus this stuff, but I'm plugging in that x plus 1. Okay, and then I just distribute and combine like terms, just like I've been doing. So distributing in the 3, I get 3x minus 6 plus 2. And then I'm just going to figure out what that stuff is before I distribute in the negative. So I got x plus 1 minus 5. So that's x, and then 1 minus 5 is negative 4. Okay, I'm going to combine some of this stuff together. So 3x, and then negative 6 and 2 gives you negative 4. And then I'm going to distribute the negative in, so minus x, and then negative times the negative is a positive, so plus 4. And then I get the last part of it. So 3x minus x is going to be 2x. And then negative 4 and positive 4 gives me 0. So 2x would be my answer for this one. All right, and you know what? I'm going to call it quits on that one for this video. So that's the first 5 problems. And through here, you can still find all of this stuff, I believe, on 7.1. So just make sure you check out the 7.1 worksheets and practice some of that stuff if you need the extra practice. All right, that's it. On to the next video.